When Gypsy Rose got out of prison, she immediately went on a press tour. She immediately started promoting a new book. She immediately started promoting a new documentary, a new reality show. She was immediately on every morning news talk show in America. And at first, everyone was happy that she was out of jail. Everyone was caught up in the hype until people had a chance to really think about the situation. People started seeing how Gypsy was being treated as this top-tier celebrity, and people started questioning why she was being treated this way. People had to sit back and remember and realize that Gypsy Rose is not some character from your favorite true crime TV show that you watched on Hulu. Gypsy Rose is not just a person that's in a true crime documentary. Gypsy Rose is a real human being that committed a real crime that really helped murder her own mother. People had to remember that. And once they did, the internet started shifting. They started turning on Gypsy Rose. And as the internet turned on Gypsy Rose, almost immediately, she stopped promoting all of these new projects that she has coming. And all of a sudden, rumors started swirling that Gypsy Rose was pregnant. Now, I know that a lot of people don't understand how the entertainment industry works these days. You know, when you're a top-tier celebrity, yeah, you'll have paparazzi out here chasing you down, stalking you, trying to take photos. But when it comes to lesser-known famous people and celebrities, when it comes to like the washed-up singers and rappers, maybe old athletes, people who maybe were relevant years ago, or people who just aren't that famous, often they have working relationships with paparazzis. So you see, people have been questioning where are these rumors coming from that Gypsy Rose is pregnant. Well, the rumors are coming from Gypsy Rose and her husband themselves. You see, in today's day and age, when you're a lesser known celebrity, you often have these working relationships with paparazzi where you kind of work together to keep each other employed or relevant. These D-list celebrities, they'll call paparazzi and let them know, I'm going to be here at this time, I'm going to be there at that time, so you can be there to take some photos, to help promote this project or that project, to get my name back in the headlines somehow, some way, to get their names in the magazine or the tabloids in any way possible. Often, there's even like a financial agreement between paparazzi and these so-called famous people, where a paparazzi will show up knowing I can take a few photos, maybe sell these photos for, let's just say, $1,000, and because you made it so easy for me to get these photos, I'll give you a few $100s in exchange. That way we both make money, the pictures are taken, you don't get harassed, I don't have to worry about following you, all of that. It's like a working relationship. So, ever since Gypsy Rose started getting canceled, ever since the internet turned on her and started questioning why she was even involved in all of these documentaries and talk shows and what have you, all of a sudden, it's like a switch flipped. All of a sudden, she went from promoting all of these projects to now paparazzi keeps seeing her and her husband out shopping for baby clothes. Now paparazzi just happen to be there whenever she goes to the doctor and the hospital, and she's been going a lot lately, right? Now, there's not that much money to be made sitting around taking photos of Gypsy. So I do believe that these interactions, I don't believe they're organic. I think it's all set up. So I guess the question on everyone's mind is Gypsy Rose really pregnant or not? In my opinion, regardless if she's pregnant or not, I think that she's using this these pregnancy rumors as a shield to deflect the criticism that she's getting now. Because you have to remember the type of person Gypsy Rose is, right? For one, Gypsy Rose is a very manipulative person. We know that she has picked up on a lot of little skills and tactics from her mother that her and her mother used over the years to manipulate people. So when I see that Gypsy Rose is getting attacked online, and then the very next day, all of a sudden, it's rumors that she's pregnant, it seems like she's resorting to the same tactics that her mother and herself used when she was younger to get sympathy, to get people feeling bad for them, to make themselves look as if they're harmless. You know what I mean? To kind of make people take their guards down, if you will. So regardless if Gypsy Rose is pregnant or not, using your pregnancy as some sort of tactic to deflect criticism or to make people feel bad for you, resorting back to doing what your mother was doing with you when you were a kid, that's not a good look at all. Period. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll be very clear here. Gypsy Rose has every right to be happy, I guess you can say. Gypsy Rose has every right to have a child and start a life. I'm not here to say otherwise. However, this is what Gypsy Rose wanted. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you all right now if this wasn't something that Gypsy Rose wanted. Gypsy Rose could have got out of jail. She could have went about her life and we would have never talked about her again. But that's not what she wanted. Gypsy Rose wanted to be the center of attention. She wanted to be the next big social media influencer. Gypsy Rose wants to be the topic of discussion, therefore, I am happy to oblige. Now, speaking about these rumors, as I said, you could search online trying to find out where these rumors are coming from. The source is actually just Gypsy and her creepo husband. You see, her husband has also been putting out these social media posts kind of hinting towards the fact that Gypsy is pregnant. And just today, he posted this on Instagram, cuddling with my little family. Now, Gypsy's husband really creeps me out for many reasons. Because when you look at Gypsy, you look at her situation, we all have an image in our head of who Gypsy is. When you think of Gypsy Rose, you don't immediately think of what she looks like today. You think of that helpless, vulnerable little girl in a wheelchair. That's the image that Gypsy Rose's husband had in his mind when he contacted her in prison. It's not like he had a bunch of recent prison photos to know what she was looking at like. Last time we saw her was in court when she was wearing the wig. But that's not the point. The point is that if a man sees someone like Gypsy Rose and they find that attractive, you see this young woman who's had horrible things done to her by her mother, who's been manipulated her whole life. She's obviously, mentally, she's underdeveloped. Mentally, she's not at the age that she's actually at in numbers and years. You know what I mean? Like, we're dealing with someone that has the mentality of a child still. So I don't understand for the life of me why any man would look at Gypsy Rose, and I'm not trying to make fun of her appearance, but why would you look at that and be attracted to that? Why would you look at that situation and think, I want to put a ring on it? The only person that would do something like that is someone who's desperate, who had no luck with regular women in the outside world. I believe the guy's name is Ryan. If Ryan could actually get a regular woman in the outside world, he wouldn't be messaging Gypsy in prison. But he couldn't. And there's a lot of men like this out there, and you got to watch out for them because they're predators. Yeah, Gypsy's of age, but at the end of the day, Ryan saw a vulnerable little girl a vulnerable woman now, in a vulnerable situation, and he tried to take advantage of it, and it worked. It worked. If Ryan could get a girlfriend out in the real world, he would have already had one, but he couldn't. So he resorted to try to manipulate Gypsy Rose into getting into a relationship with him. And I find that very creepy, because you could tell that he was desperate. Anyone that's trying to engage in a relationship with Gypsy Rose is desperate to begin with. But he even went so far as to make sure they were married before she even got out of jail. And I think this is heading towards a very dangerous situation. I'm not saying that Gypsy is going to kill Ryan, although I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't think this is going to end well. I think that eventually Gypsy Rose will grow to resent Ryan. There may be some hidden or not so hidden resentment there in the near future or in the years to come, because Gypsy Rose doesn't know a regular life. Gypsy Rose has always been under the thumb and rule of her mother, right? She wasn't allowed to grow like a normal kid. She wasn't allowed to have a normal childhood or a normal teenage years or anything like that. She lived under the constant rule and thumb of her mother. It was so bad to her that she thought the only way out was killing her mom. Well, Gypsy Rose went directly from that situation to living under the rule and thumb of the law and the prison system in prison. Gypsy Rose has not really lived a single day as an adult in the outside world by herself. She went from the rule and thumb of her mother to the rule and thumb of prison to being released directly to her husband, and now she's under the rule and thumb of her husband. Now, I'm not trying to say that marriage is like prison or being in a relationship is like prison. But in many ways, it's like Gypsy went from one prison to another prison to another prison. Because, let's be real here, being able to grow as an individual, being able to live a single life and being able to find who you are is much different than automatically being released to prison as the wife of some stranger who you kind of don't really know. So she's being transferred from prison to prison to prison. She's never had a week or she's never even had a solid week to be her own woman, to figure out what she actually wants in life, to figure out what she actually wants to do. She hasn't had that. She's automatically under the wing of her husband. Now, I'm not saying that her husband's like a dictator that tells her everything to do. He looks like a pushover to me. Gypsy probably wears the pants in that relationship. But at the same time, there's certain rules that come with marriage. You can't be out here just living your life like you're not married, right? That's the whole point of getting married. So Gypsy has never lived without a certain structure over her head that's kind of dictating what she can and cannot do. And I think that's a recipe for disaster when dealing with someone like Gypsy. And as I was saying, I really think that Gypsy's husband is a straight creep. Anyone that would come in and try to take advantage of Gypsy's situation is a creepo, if you ask me. And there were some interesting decisions made that really shows you his intentions. Like I was saying earlier, if this guy was capable of getting a regular, sane woman in the outside world, he would have. He couldn't. So he tried to prey on Gypsy. It's just like an animal in the animal kingdom. A lion. When a lion is hunting a pack of zebras, they're going to go after the most vulnerable. They're not going after the strong, independent zebra. No. They're going after the zebra that's limping in the back, that obviously has issues, the slowest one. And that's why I call Gypsy's husband a predator. It's not because, I think Gypsy's a kid still, even though she kind of is, and I think there's a conversation to be had there. But Gypsy Rose's husband is a predator that's trying to prey on the most vulnerable target that he can. And like I said, it worked. And he's so desperate in this situation that he made sure that they were married before she even got out of jail. And when you really think about it, that doesn't make sense at all. Because you got all of these reality shows and everything lined up. Why wouldn't y'all get married outside of jail? I'm sure TLC or Lifetime or someone would have paid for the marriage, and they would have paid y'all to record everything go down. You're already planning reality shows anyway. Why didn't they do that? No, they didn't do that because Ryan wanted to make sure that Gypsy was locked down before she even got out of jail. Because Ryan may look like a doofus, but Ryan knows that if Gypsy were to have gotten out of jail and tasted a taste of real freedom, a taste of single life, a taste of I'm going to go do me by myself and do what I want, Ryan would have never heard from her again. Okay? Ryan manipulated his way into this situation, and we're basically all just waiting to see how Gypsy Rose manipulates herself out of the situation. You know, as I said, it's like she went from one prison to another prison to another prison, and now it looks like there's a huge possibility that they're going to bring a child into this world. And I can guarantee you right now that child is going to be all kind of messed up. Imagine having a mother like Gypsy and a father like Ryan. And then you wonder why there's so many mental health issues in America. It's because people that have no business having kids are having kids left and right. But it's just one more thing. You know how I say that Gypsy never got to experience freedom and stuff like that? Now, not only is she married to some guy that she basically doesn't even really know, now she's going to have a child by the dude. So Ryan is kind of trying to lock down Gypsy in any way possible. I want to go ahead and make sure you're married before you get out of jail. You know, we're going to live in my house so you can financially kind of be dependent on me. You're going to parole out to my house. So if you go anywhere besides my house, you'll be arrested. I hope you all know that. When you provide your parole officer a place where you're living, you can't live anywhere else or you'll go to jail. Okay? So Gypsy Rose is kind of forced in a situation where she has to be with Ryan. Now it looks like he may have impregnated her, kind of locked her down even further. So now we have a woman who lived under the rule and thumb of her mother, lived under the rule and thumb of the prison system, is living under the rule and thumb of her marriage, and will now be living under the rule and thumb of parenthood. And I'm saying, like, being a parent is a beautiful thing. I'm not trying to say it isn't. But for someone like Gypsy, will this end well? For someone who obviously was desperate enough for a taste of freedom that they killed their own mother, how will she feel when she's 40 or 50 and still hasn't gotten that taste of freedom? How will she feel 2 years from now when she's got multiple kids still living with Ryan, not able to do anything that she wants to do? Maybe she'll be a great mother. Maybe she'll react to everything well, but that's very unlikely. Very unlikely. So I think we're looking at a possibility here where this situation, and when I say this situation, I mean Gypsy. I think we're looking at a situation where Gypsy is going to explode or implode eventually with all of these different things that are kind of weighing her down. And I don't think having kids is weighing you down when you're a normal person, but we have a unique situation on our hands. We cannot approach this situation like we're dealing with your average person on the streets, because what Gypsy Rose has done, what Gypsy Rose has been through, and what she will continue to go through is not the experiences of an average person. So this is a unique situation. And I don't know how well equipped she is to deal with all of this. I mean, at the very least, we know that she's not equipped at all. Because I don't even think this woman or this girl probably even made her own meal. You know what I mean? Now she's bringing a child into this world. It's a crazy situation. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, if you want to donate to the channel, you can do so via Cash App, or you can help the channel for free by liking, subscribing, ringing that notification bell, all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all soon in the next one.